With the Butt Kicker Gamer 2, what you see and what you hear is what you feel. Butt Kicker. The future is feeling.
Minutes of racing, and all we know is to go 3 wide into the opening corner.
That was a very late dive. He managed to make it work. And he gets the green. We're underway. 3 races left.
Exit work, and the defending champion wins at Circuit Lebanon.
Well, we're back for some Formula D action in Precision Racing League competition. It's the first season of 2024 live action, and we've got it all for you on RaceSpotTV. I'm Dylan Coyle, and we're going to have some fun tonight at Road Atlanta. Formula D is quite the interesting class. We're going to have a 35-minute race here to open it all up. And it's changed just a tad the way that this schedule, this season works in PRL competition. Following the 2023 Season 4, we went from 10 races to 9 races. One of the races was a preseason race, so you could add that up. That was 10. That was just a few weeks ago before Christmas time, but it's January 4th, and you see the schedule right there. Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta, with Tsukuba as the next track before we go to Spa, Hungaroring, Jerez, Silverstone, Okayama, Mount Panorama, and the Nürburgring to round out this 2-month dash to the Season 1 championship in PRL 2024. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last year, of course, Andrew Moran won the title by 16 points over Jake Faulkner. Came down to it. Faulkner had a really solid stretch of his final 3 races. Moran did not, but it was that consistency and that high-level determination from Moran earlier in the season to make it happen, make it all count. No drop weeks in the final race weekend. But let's go over who makes it happen, who gets it done, and if you want to get it done with Advanced Sim Racing, which is owned and operated by passionate sim racers, you can. Advanced Sim Racing designs and builds the sturdiest and most durable aluminum profile racing simulation cockpits available in the market today. All PRL members also get a 5% discount on ASR products using the Precision5 coupon code. Racebox Sim Racing offers mid and high-end button boxes for sim racing enthusiasts, from the casual gamer up to the most meticulous sim racing driver. Competitively priced and carefully handcrafted, our button boxes are an enjoyable addition to any sim racing setup. visit raceboxsimracing.com and get a 5% discount using the Precision5 coupon code. The Butt Kicker. Butt Kicker products add incredible immersion and realism to every game. Feel every nuance and truly put yourself in the driver's seat. Muradness is a performance lifestyle brand motivated by motorsport and founded by professional race car driver Daniel Morad. Mr. Hedge iRacing Photography. Capture your finest, proudest, or simply worst moments from your hobby in up to 8K resolution. A great addition to any sim room. And finally, Advanced Motorsports. Get ready to learn to be fast with Advanced Motorsports. Follow them on their socials to become a better driver. Well, I could definitely use some lessons on how to be as fast as some of these drivers are in the field tonight. Currently on track, 20 registered, 19 have set a lap time, with Jake Vasconcelos following up on his third place finish in last season's affair, with right now the best time in qualifying, just over a 10th in front of Kevin McPherson. As we're riding and we're seeing Jake Vasconcelos with just over 8 minutes to go in qualifying here at Road Atlanta. Now, I'll definitely tell you this, Road Atlanta is a fun track, you know? It's one of those tracks that, yeah, you might and probably can't hold the highest level of motorsports here, but it doesn't matter. It's got that character, right? We talk about racetracks needing character. Road Atlanta certainly fits that bill. It's not the biggest track out there, you know. It's got 750 acres of space, and in that space, just over 2.5 miles long in Georgia. It's not in Atlanta. It's a good bit out of the way. Kind of similar. Atlanta Motor Speedway is 45 minutes from downtown Atlanta, but as we see here with the 27 car with the Gamebridge logos on the halo, Manus Al Lakututi. We're going to figure that out as the season starts and goes over the course of it. Gets to 8th, the 27 machine does, with just 7 minutes to go here in qualifying. It's still Vasconcelos up, but McPherson trying to do something to change that. He is in the slipstream. It might be Vasconcelos right there. McPherson is going to try and get a big run down this long straightaway here with a big braking zone coming up. It's going to be one of the bigger passing zones throughout the course of this track. It is Vasconcelos, so teammates are going to almost work together. Yeah, Vasconcelos is not going to hold McPherson back right there. He got the biggest run he could potentially get into this quick left-right chicane before you go up the hill, underneath the bridge, and now go down this hill. It's one of the more breathtaking corners of any international circuits. Let's see if McPherson had a good time. He does, by 9 thousandths of a second, just barely eclipsing Vasconcelos' time, and that's going to mean that the number 10, as a car is spinning in the first couple corners, that's going to mean the number 10 is going to have to get right back into it. That's Tyler Emery in the 207 machine. That green and yellow almost looks like the Lotus Formula One team from the mid-2000s, I guess you could say. Not the when it went gold and black. I believe there was another Lotus, but not Lotus at all. Dorigo Motorsports trying to make do and get back going again after that slip up and spin, but he's going to lock up the right front and struggling a bit on this lap trying. He's not going to count for a time, but here we go again. Vasconcelos is now going to get this slipstream down the straightaway here, heading to the final set of corners. And they do the swap. Vasconcelos will throw it in, not taking much curbing there. Let's just see what time he gets. And it will be a 1:25.05, which, as you see on the board, is fast. Very, very fast. It's a bigger advantage that he had over McPherson before McPherson got 9,000ths quicker than Vasconcelos the last time around. So 10th and a half. We'll look back to 8th place, Dave Peterson, 9/10 off the pace of the number 10 machine, and he is only 7,000ths off of Jason Ahrensberg. But look at that. The 27 machine goes to 7th, pushes Peterson down to 9th, 10th and 11th currently in the pit. So still trying to see what the Vikings Hot Rod Racing VHR 35 Formula D machine will do. Comes around 10A and 10B, usually in track maps and circuit maps. Each chicane almost has its own corner title, but no, that's just A and B. How about 12A, 12B? That's what he just went around there, and Peterson will not improve on his time. So this one looks like it's going to be an improvement this lap right here. And Gala Kadudi. How about that? And Gala Kadudi just read it, and we got it right. Manis and Gala Kadudi is moving through that final chicane. Has the slipstream, but it might hurt that that's happening right in front. Well, how about that? It got right out of the way. Couldn't quite see who was spinning right there, but it's going to help him as he comes out of 12B into the aptly named just 12. And improvement indeed. It's going to put him in front of Sean Duhamel. So Angala Katudi is up into 6th. Tyler Emery slowing down, does not want to hold anybody up, gets some free track in front of him, so we'll sacrifice that lap for at least 2 more go-arounds. Jason Ahrensberg is still, that Vulture Motorsports machine is 9/10 flat off Vasconcelos' time, so he's been sitting there at that 9/10 mark for the last couple minutes or so. Can the 64 do much of anything to change it? Road Atlanta, you know, it has been very much in the mainstay of endurance racing in the United States. A lot of IMSA, WeatherTech Sports Car Championship races. Of course, the Petit Le Mans is such a big deal in the grand look at everything American motorsports, as Bill Jenkins for Dorigo Motorsports will try to do better than just 2.2 seconds off the pace here. You know, a lot of people don't know as we... Actually, let's take a little listen, a ride. That 63 machine, 3/10 back of the top 2 of P1 right now with just seconds remaining. He'll probably finish this lap. Not sure if he'll get to go again. So within The next minute or so will be the ultimate checker flag, where everyone's lap times now will be the last lap times that they can set, as David Hebert will look to get some quick times going here. 13th place. If he goes top 10, that would be, I'm sure, a really solid mark for him. Coming around 12, we'll see what it's marked down to. It looks like an improvement, and it'll get to 11th, so not top 10 quite yet, but you know what? Not a bad place to start this race with 19 drivers setting lap times in this. We might only have 19 taking to the grid. Tristan Callahan, you see his smiling face right down there in the 76 car. Still has around 20 seconds to go here before he completes his final qualifying lap. Callahan is quite a ways off the pace for, I guess, where he would like to be, right? Callahan, a very solid driver, both on road, Formula, as well as oval. He doesn't like his lap time, so he takes it into pit lane as Soy will bring it over the line. Does he improve? No, he does not. That is it. CJ Conklin finishes 16th in qualifying, and that is it. We know who gets pole position here for this 35-minute race at Road Atlanta. And of course, it's two drivers that were extremely quick the entirety of the way that gets up there. Jake Vasconcelos will start alongside teammate Kevin McPherson for Yeez Motorsports. Just a tenth and a half separating the two of them, working together in qualifying to lock out that front row, while Earl Yoroxoy will start in P3, so he'll be right behind Vasconcelos on the run up to turn 1, while Tristan Callahan will start alongside him in the Race Indigo 76 Formula D machine. Clay Harris rounds out the top 5 with Manis Angalakadudi in 6th. Sean Duhamel will be in P7 with Jason Ahrensberg starting in 8th. Dave Peterson and Nicholas Norwood round out the top 10 starting positions, while David Hebert and Donald Olson will round out your front 6 rows. Joshua Reed, Ethan Fehrenberg, Bill Jenkins, CJ Conklin, Vatan Kapadia, and Brandon Walter, your front 9 rows, while Tyler Emery, good bit off the pace, 3.5 seconds back, will start in P19. Well, just moments away from seeing all of these cars take to the grid and get ready to get moving here. It's a 50% fuel capacity that these Formula D machines have, and this race will be 35 minutes with a standing start. As you see, everyone's still trying to grid up here. Now, interestingly enough, Road Atlanta, it is a difficult track to get right, especially through that first sector. You got to drive through at 13x on the penalty, or on the incident points, I should say, and a disqualification at 17 incident points. So hopefully no one is dealing with that tonight. But as you see, Vasconcelos, McPherson, and Earl Yoroxoy, it's going to be a fun race. Just waiting on 2 more drivers before we keep it and get green in this race. Road Atlanta, one of the most historic racetracks in North America for endurance racing. We're going Formula D racing and Precision Racing League 2024 action. It's the first race of season 1, and green is out. Lights are gone. We're underway and racing into turn 1. In the lead of the race, Vasconcelos holds it with McPherson right in behind those 2 single file, and everyone trying to make it up the hill through turn 1 and turn 2. So far, so clean. Oh, Tristan Callahan, we're getting reports that he did not make it to the green. As we see cars going off track, Callahan in the pits has to start from pit lane. That's horrible for Callahan, who started pretty far up the grid, just a half second off of Vasconcelos' pole time. We rushed all the way into the second half of this racetrack. Turn 6, turn 7, 2 90-degree right-hand corners before this long run down. While they do call it turns 8 and turns 9, these very, very brief turns, I guess you could say. It's a straightaway. Everyone, for the most part, still side by side, as Callahan has made it up to 18th, 12.5 seconds back. Vasconcelos, McPherson. It's still Vasconcelos in the lead. A pass going on for 6th place. Looks like Duhamel or Peterson working on it. It's Arnsberg and Peterson going side by side into this final corner. Not a place you usually see cars go side by side, but they did it pretty well for there, and it's a swap of positions. 64 trying to make it work. CJ Conklin is having some technical issues, 22 seconds back, but still blinking in, blinking out. We'll keep you updated there, but right now 20 cars, I should say, are on track. James O'Brien did not set a qualifying time, but he is up into 16th, 14 seconds back. You don't have to set a qualifying time, it just sends you to the back of the grid. McPherson, a bit of a better run than Vasconcelos coming out of this corner. We're gonna get a replay here of what happened with CJ Conklin, and we saw that from him in qualifying earlier. He went way too deep into 10A and looped it around when trying to get it back going in 10B. And then he seemed to stall it in the grass and then slide again. Oh boy, well, he's back on track and trying to catch up. No cautions, no yellows, there's no resets or restarts of any sort here. It's a strict 35-minute race. A pass going into 10A, and it's for the lead. McPherson and Vasconcelos swapping positions right there. Yeah, I think it's a smart move. If you're the Hughes Motorsports teammates, you don't want to fight each other too hard, because then that allows the third place 63 machine to get back into play. The 10 looking down the inside, cannot find room around 1, this snake section. 2, 3, 4, the S's. As we see everything, we're gonna go back into Capadia, who went over the grass in the S's, then the gravel, coming through turn 5, and somehow kept it out of the barriers. That could have been disastrous for Capadia, but Vatan Capadia, and that 14 machine running at 18th. He's got some competition with Emery in the back, but we rejoin the top of the leaderboard. 3.5 minutes gone in this race so far. McPherson, Vasconcelos, they do have company. Yuroksoy is doing a great job, and that's why you see them swapping positions again. They're not fighting each other. This is teamwork right here, and it does help. It's one of those moments in sim racing where you really see what it means to be teammates when you're both fast, you both have speed. As we go back, a battle for 9th, Nicholas Norwood getting passed right there by Jason Arensberg. Ethan Ferenberg into P13. He was looking at Joshua Reed. He just did not have the time or the space. As you see how far to the outside there, to the left side, Vasconcelos got in the grass, in the dirt. I mean, it feels very risky at this point, as Vasconcelos will slide through the S's, and McPherson almost gets into the gearbox. We're talking about risks and talking about taking risks right there. Might not have been the risk you want to take. I know you feel like, you know, you see all the cars in behind, and there's a lot of company that they all have. The top 4, well, not necessarily under a blanket, unless it's a California king-size blanket. We're going to get a replay here. And yeah, just losing it, going over the curve, but what a great save. The fact that he was able to right the ship as quickly as he did. And good reaction time from Kevin McPherson. That would have been worst case scenario if Vasconcelos was sliding more and McPherson didn't see it. 2 teammates taking each other out by accident, no fault of really Vasconcelos's or McPherson's own. Well, fault indeed, but not much, as Capadia is in the pits. I think he was just towed. That might be a race over for the 14 machine. 20 cars entered, and 19 currently on track and in the race. As we go underneath 30 minutes to go. We're gonna get a replay of Ethan Ferenberg right here. So we see again for the S's, it's hard to keep it on track. The 12 slides, has a brief kiss with the tire barriers and just chilling. It's a good place to watch the race, and you see, oh goodness me, it wasn't anything to do with Fahrenberg right there. It was an incident in front of him from one car just completely slow around the initial S's, and just you know, he got a front seat view to it, so not too bad of a place to watch. And you might get some paid tickets for that, and that would cost a fair bit to see it. As we're 6.5 minutes into this one, we'll try and get a look at what happened. The view of Brandon Walter as the 26 of McPherson goes to the inside, coming into 10A and 10B, swap over, and that's exactly what you see. Not as much excitement when we're talking about a pass for the lead, because it's calculated passes for the lead. It's, you know, we'll get Walter right here. Here's a replay. So Walter loses it after seeing Fahrenberg, who had just lost it. He comes back on track, and you know, that's a weird looking incident. It's a 3-car incident right there. He was going a little bit too slowly, but it wasn't like he was abruptly getting back on track, right? He was sliding in, and just maybe 20 miles, 15 miles per hour slower than maybe you'd expect through there. But it did feel like there was enough reaction time to avoid an incident there. That's not from my decision-making skills to be able to look at, but you see here, riding on board from the back of McPherson, Vasconcelos, a way better arc into the corner. McPherson a little bit off the apex, but gets it pretty right there. Has his left side tires dip out to the grass, to the dirt area, and now it's the run to 10A and 10B through 8 and 9 to go underneath the bridge area right here, as we see a pass going on coming out of turn 7. It's Haber and Donald Olson. This is a fight for P10 as we go back to the lead with Vasconcelos taking the lead. But look at that. Earl Uruxoy is right there. He is right there, and he can almost smell P2 at least, as we see Olson, Haber, side by side. 10A inside 10A is going to go to Haber. Olson, I should say. Haber fights back on the outside of 10A to 10B's inside, gets the move remade, and through 11 and then 12, he'll get back into P10. That's a good little scrap between Haber and Olson, the driver of the number 16 and the driver of the 413 machine. Only 4 drivers in this field with triple-digit numbers. I was never a big fan of choosing triple-digit numbers myself, unless I guess we talk about endurance racing or anything like that. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. YouTube, RaceSpotTV, we're watching, we're seeing your comments, and would love to hear what you think about triple-digit numbers. Follow along on RaceSpotTV on our YouTube stream, and PRL action, Precision Racing League action. It's always fun to be here, as there's a little bit of lapped traffic potentially getting involved. Yes, look at that. That could have been dangerous. Tyler Emery, he's down the inside of a very dangerous corner to be on the inside of, and Uruxoy had to kind of avoid him ever so slightly. I do not envy Emery's position here. He slows down big time. He's continuing to stay slow, but I don't know, it's kind of, you want to be predictable, right? And I feel like it's hard to be predictable around the S's for sure, because the inside, the best line around this track changes so much throughout the S's, but I don't know. It's a little bit weird how slow he's going. His Dorigo teammate came to him right there. Okay, here's a battle again for 10th. Haber, Olson, Tristan Callahan, and Joshua Reed. 4 cars. This is what we're talking about. A blanket. Those 3 cars, 11th on the 13th. While Haber's trying to get away. Not a place you usually see side-by-side action. But it's happening as we run down to 6 on the outside. Callahan will take the position and get that inside line pretty easily, as Olson, who was once fighting for P10, is going to have to hold on to 12th place right now. Just under 11 minutes into this race. It goes by quickly. 17 and a half minutes as that halfway point as Peterson and Duhamel are swapping positions as well. A little bit of teamwork again as Jason Ahrensberg is trying to just be a pest to those two drivers right now. And he's got some speed, right? We're talking about racing the racetrack and racing the drivers around you. Well, Jason Ahrensberg, his last lap was much faster than Sean Duhamel. Actually, Ahrensberg's last lap was a 1:21.778. That was 4/10 quicker than what Duhamel did. So, right on board with Donald Olson in the 413. Not the best apex right there for Olson, but the slipstream is the all-great equalizer. You see on the leaderboard, Ahrensberg and Duhamel swapping positions once again. Ahrensberg's got speed. He is trying to catch up with Dave Peterson, but again, Olson, Hebert, slipstream, it's doing wonders. I don't think he's close enough unless he wants to just send it. Oh, last of the late breakers, he sent it for sure. And they still say side by side, was not able to get the position there, but it was a nice shout. It was a nice attempt. What it did allow to happen, though, is Joshua Reed in 13th to get a really solid run. Trying to go down the inside is Olson. Reed in behind in that 18 machine and getting really all out of shorts with David Hebert, who just lost 2 positions right there. Side by side, Reed, Olson, the 18 machine, moving through 2 drivers at once from 13th to 11th in the span of just 3 corners and the S's. Really solid set of moves right there, but it all started because Hebert felt the pressure and just got a little bit too hot going into corner number 1. Opened the door for Reed and even Olson to get by him, but after it all, Hebert net loss of 2, Reed net gain of 2, and Olson, well, he went past one driver, but he also got passed by another. So it's net 0. As you see, the 27 gets pushed in front. Oh no! Angela Kaduni is absolutely shoved through 10A, gets back on track and into P9. From what it seems, he's got damage, and we joined that very, very late on in the action. But my first thought is, it was just bad braking from in behind. If that was the case, a lap car getting involved here with that top 6 battle, that 6th place, 5th place, 7th place battle we've got going on. Dave Peterson with VHR holding strong in the top 5. It's pretty much the top 4 under a blanket, and then 5th to 7th under a blanket right here. Dave Peterson, Sean Duhamel, they're just right with each other. That driver that was being passed, I believe it was Conklin, or it was Tyler Emery. Couldn't quite see. We're going to get a replay here. Yeah, that's just, not what you want to be doing. And I believe that that was Dave Peterson. I could be incorrect in my thoughts there, but yeah, you just flat out cleared them out. Heading into the first part of the chicane, which we're seeing them go through right here, right now. But yeah, that's not what you want to be doing, and because of that, the 27 machine is fighting for 14th, back in P15 right now. So everyone going into the pits as Duhamel and Dave Peterson. I would suspect that this is some teamwork at play. You get a lot more speed, especially down that slipstream straightaway, as Joshua Reed as well will head into the pits. So remember, 50% fuel capacity. You don't really need to get tires, at least with how the tire model is. We've seen 4-hour stints on a single set of tires, 24 hours of Daytona. I know that it's been changed by iRacing slightly over the year, but I still think the right strategy in a short sprint race like this is just get some fuel and get back going again. You make it 50% of the way there, you have a short rest in the pits, and then you get going again, and that's what Olsen and Haber are fighting for 8th right now. And trying to do to get to that 50% point for their fuel, and not sending it in deep. That's smart. These two have been together for a lot of this race. Something tells me, though, that Haber has got some pretty solid straight line speed with Donald Olsen right up ahead. This is where you're going to start to see that pole. Will he go for it? Will he even have time? Will he have space? It doesn't look like he does. So really good exit, I'd say. Really good drive down that straightaway by Donald Olsen as both of them get a little bit loosey-goosey around that chicane. And with just 18 minutes to go, we're going to see Donald Olsen pulling off into pit lane. So he said, I'm done with that battle. I'm going to go into the pits. James O'Brien will run into ninth, has yet to go into pit lane. Remember, James O'Brien, oh no, Bill Jenkins is around, and he gets it going again in that 117 machine. Must have been a big problem through the chicane, but he hasn't gone back on track. He didn't want to be a hindrance to anyone who was flying on track. Duhamel and Peterson, remember, these two teammates, they both went into the pits together, and they're going to stay out on track together as well. Officially halfway through this 35-minute affair, and some unfortunate news is that it's going to be the only race of the night. Formula C, unfortunately, did not have the participation this season that Precision Racing League was hoping for, so had to make the unfortunate call to, at least for this season, axe that series. It could always return in some way, if not the exact same way as side-by-side the teammates go. And they're going to stay side-by-side until we get into the braking zone with Peterson making the move on Duhamel right there. But it is unfortunate. Every race day for PRL competition, 5 days out of the week, Sunday nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, all but 2, which are Sundays and now Thursdays, have 2 race sessions in them each. Always a great time, and I believe registration is still somewhat open for this season. Might have closed, but even if it is, you can always check out all the cool things at PrecisionRacingLeague.com. Shows you all the series and everything going on. All those races are broadcasted on RaceSpotTV, and they all start those broadcasts at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Whatever that is in your time zone. If you're in California, that's 5:30, and you know, that might be 2:30 a.m. if you're somewhere in the UK or Europe. I think it's 6 hours. I'm not sure. This is a battle for third going on right here with Clay Harris really getting some good speed on Uruxoy. This battle for between the top 4, it was pretty big for the majority of the opening half of this race, but our eyes wandered in for good reason because the two teammates have stretched out themselves 3 and 5 seconds ahead, respectfully, of the 63 machine, who we currently see through the halo in front of us right now. But even that battle for the lead, it's not much of a battle yet, right? 2.5 seconds between them, the biggest gap that it's been. Still, though, it could change. Could change as this race continues to go on. Maybe 13 or 12 laps to go here, so still a lot of time for mistakes. 2.5 seconds, you just have to chop off that advantage as big as you can, and then maybe the teammates won't be as teammates-y as we have seen. But Uruxoy and Harris and the 63 and the 13 machines, some good battling between them. You see who has come into the pits, and currently, as you see, there's a reason Callahan and James O'Brien are still out there. It's because they've yet to hit pit lane. Probably the worst loser of them all in this case is Brandon Walter, and Bill Jenkins is in the pits for an extended period of time after an incident. But Walter is going to lose a lot more time. He's way back with 0. Stop, says Harris. Got up a little bit squirrely over the curbing here and recovered quite nicely. They can catch you out really quickly. Remember, 13x is the incident point limit before you have to take a drive-through penalty. 17 incident points is a race disqualification. That's unfortunate. Battle for 7th. O'Brien, Hebert. O'Brien sends it down the inside. They stay side by side for an extended period of time. But ultimately, Hebert has to just pull out there and let O'Brien take the position. O'Brien's been flying in this race. Best lap of 1:21.724. It's just very impressive for him. Of course, when you look at Vasconcelos and McPherson on the 120s, it's almost like O'Brien's consistency is what's getting him to this point. It's not always about how fast your best lap is, it's about how consistently fast you can be, which oftentimes the best drivers, your Lewis Hamiltons of the world, just know how to conserve those tires for the longest amount of time possible, and they know when to go and they know how consistent to be as this battle for third continues to rage on. And holding that defensive line right there is a 63, but it helps on entry to the next part of the S's. We go 2, 3, 4, and then the S's portion before turn 5. This left-hander that's a little bit off canter right there, and those tire barriers come out very quickly, and they can fool you. They can really be a deterrent for speed around those corners, but they keep it moving. You know, it reminds me a little bit of Virginia International Raceway, that those two right-hand 90-degree angles at the other side of the racetrack. It's Road Atlanta, 6 and 7. Just saw them go through there. So they just send it down this back straightaway into 10A. Currently the closest action in the race, 3rd and 4th besides, until we get to the battle for 7th, but O'Brien had passed Hebert, and Sean DeHamel and Dave Peterson, teammates, have been with each other a lot. How about this? Pitters, Vasconcelos and McPherson, the two leaders of this race. Ruxoy, Harris, I think it's a pit party right now for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Ahrensburg shows up. They went as far as they could before having to come down into the pits. But Tristan Callahan is going to go one more lap. And after missing the grid up portion of this race, after qualifying high up, the Race Indigo driver now leads, albeit through not coming into the pits yet. But it is a mark at his dazzling consistency that we love to see. James O'Brien has also yet to come down pit lane. And, of course, O'Brien did not qualify for this race. So he started on the grid, but just did not qualify. Ahrensburg, David Hebert. It's showing Hebert as 0 stints. I'm not sure if that's a mistake on my part for forgetting, but I could have sworn Hebert went into pit lane. If not, though, that's going to be a massive problem for him. But from what we see from our stat tracking, it's a 0. A goose egg is the correct number to be showing. Unfortunate if that's the case, but we fight on. That would definitely help Ahrensburg to get Hebert off of his gearbox right now. Even if you're knowing that there's not much of a battle as Callahan goes into the pits and Vasconcelos takes back over, which, by the way, if you want to know how many laps we saw from Callahan, 19 laps on a full tank of fuel. Now, the one pro of coming in later in this race is undoubtedly going to be the fact that, you know, you're not going to have to be in the pits for as long as everybody else. It was a 3.2-second stop just to get the fuel he needed in, and he immediately comes back out into traffic and got involved quickly. Splits the teammates, actually, it appeared. As you still have lap traffic playing a factor. 19 cars still on track in this race, but because DeHamel was watching very carefully what the lap car, the back marker, did, it allowed Callahan and Peterson to get back into the action in a big way here. It's a battle for P5, and this is purely merit-based here. Everyone except for Walter, and now that's not true because Walter's in the pits, has come down pit lane. So it's a flat-out dogfight until the end here. Big slipstream. It's going to be for Callahan, who pulls to the right. Peterson moves with Callahan. They're going to be side by side. We're going to get the best view possible on this. Will there be a fight back? A bit of a fight back, but it's going to be a horrible entry into 10A. That's going to leave DeHamel open to a bit of a fight from in behind Dave Peterson. But just by the nature of this racetrack, it's hard to fight right after that chicane section, unless you get a really good run, while the guy in front of you gets a really bad turn in to that final corner, turn 12, and it's not much that you can do heading into turn 1, but it's so important to get it right. Right wheels jump over the curbing there, and dirty air is not a huge factor for these race cars. The downforce is relied upon, but because of the speeds, it's not as relied upon. That was a mistake from Callahan. Sean DeHamel is starting to inch back closer just a little bit. Got the car very unsettled going over the different track surfaces, if you can even call gravel and dirt and grass a track surface, as opposed to the asphalt of Road Atlanta. Weaving, snaking, looking like the Indianapolis 500, which I think we're allowed to say again. Nonetheless, moving into 10A. I just heard we're not. So the redacted 500. We move down to the inside here of 10A. And good defense right there from Callahan. Opens the door for Peterson to get to DeHamel again. But those two are teammates, and they don't want to be too aggressive with each other, but it is coming down to the end of the race. And this is a good battle. Everybody else in front, big gaps have formed. First and second, third and fourth, and fifth. Well, I should say the top four look secure. Fifth place, though, obviously, is anything but. But Callahan is doing a good job of starting to just briefly break away from DeHamel and Peterson. 8/10, it's hovering around there, but it's just gained big time through the exit of the S's. It must have been a big mistake right there as we're watching with DeHamel and Peterson, because that was a 2/10 gain through the very end of the S's through turn 5. We'll see if they're able to still be in the slipstream. Now just around a second behind Callahan. I mean, they'll still get the help of a slip, maybe a tiny bit. You see it starting to crawl back ever so slightly, but I mean, this is maybe half a tenth, if anything. So you get to 1 second back, you're pretty much out of drafting range. I think Callahan has just put a number on both of them. So looks like DeHamel and Peterson are going to have to fight it out. At 5 minutes and 45 seconds to go, I just don't see how DeHamel and Peterson can make it back up to Callahan unless Tristan makes a mistake. But it's just the speed that Callahan has shown is rather impressive. Last lap for Callahan was a 1:27.80, which was way faster than DeHamel and Peterson's 1:21.38 and 1:21.68, respectively, as those two got way separated. Tristan Callahan, we talk about potential mistakes. We give him the commentator's curse when we talk about it. Callahan back in the P7 because he just made a huge mistake trying to push it. And he's still trying to see if this car is okay. I wonder if there's a bigger mechanical problem after taking that spin. Did he hit anything? I'll have to find out. Here's the replay. Just pushing it. And that was interesting. The car just kind of jumped over. Big hit into the outside wall there, heading down into turn 6 and 7, and that's just so unfortunate for Tristan Callahan, who has really had to make it all the way back. Fast car, fast consistency, was hitting really good lap times, was 0.6 quicker the last lap than Peterson, 0.9 quicker than Duhamel, and yet it doesn't matter because he is within the grasp of Angela Kadudi, excuse me, and he just threw away a top 5. Unfortunate, but it's how it works sometimes. It's racing. To finish first or even 5th, at first you must finish. YJ Racing making a pretty solid start to the season with the 27. If you recall, Angela Kadudi was going really fast in this race, was up front for a long time in the mix, but got shunted in 10A, the opening to the chicane that will go by in around 15-20 seconds time, and lost around 5-6 spots, had some damage, went into the pits immediately, and has been on track ever since, putting in some good lap times. And he's trying to catch up to Callahan, who just made that mistake. Fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.295 by the leader, Jake Vasconcelos, who is 6 seconds almost in front of his teammate in the 26 machine of Kevin McPherson. I don't think anyone's surprised to see Vasconcelos dominating this race, but hey, just like Callahan did, just like we talked about, mistakes can happen, for sure. 2 minutes, 50 seconds to go. And the checkered flag will come out after the leader comes across the line, and that will be after time has expired. So, oh boy, mistake by the 27. Lets Callahan just inch away a little bit more. Over a second in between. Here was the danger zone for Callahan when he made his mistake coming over the hill. Everything seems to be fine here with 2 minutes and some change remaining. An interesting opening to Formula D action in Season 1 2024 for the Precision Racing League on RaceSpotTV. On Sunday, we'll have the opening race for the Cup Series, the PRL Cup Series action, and for most of the year, I'll be doing some lead commentary for you for the Cup Series. I won't be doing it Sunday, though. My family's in town, and, well, I'm getting an operation. Hernia operation, which would be a lot more fun to talk about if somebody else was here to mess with me about it. But other than that, I just have my producer in Dustin. He's been giving you all the good angles of this race, but I will be missing that. It'll be some great fun. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you got some PRL action to watch on RaceSpotTV as we get closer and closer to that 1 minute mark here. And Vasconcelos, Reese Motorsports, has been unbelievable, and he'll just need to negotiate these corners one more time after, of course, negotiating it on this lap. White flag will be waved at Road Atlanta. Vasconcelos has been so good tonight. We should not be surprised, though. A solid drive for last year's third-place finisher, Andrew Moran, not in the field, not racing in this series this year. So kind of opens up the door. Faulkner not in the series. Of course, if they decide to join, they'll only have missed, as there's a crash we're hearing about, potentially. Yes, Jason Arensberg, you see him back in 13th. He made a mistake and slid the tires, had to hold up, noticed there was no one on the relative, and gets it back moving. So I guess no harm, no foul. As we go through 6 and 7, down the straightaway for the last time. Time expires, officially the final lap. Well, Faulkner and Moran can rejoin the series, at least, and just miss the first race. You can do that. There's the drop week. But Jake Vasconcelos, who finished third with Yeast Motorsports last season, just 22 points off the top step He's looking to not only go one step higher, but how about 2 steps higher, and potentially winning this championship. He's going to start it in the best way possible. He didn't win last season, but he's going to win tonight. The opener at Road Atlanta. Jake Vasconcelos wins it. McPherson crosses the line in second, and it's a Yeast Motorsports 1-2 finish. For the 10 and the 26 on the bottom step of the podium, Yorick Soy, really solid job from him tonight, and Clay Harris will finish in P4. Dave Peterson will be the next to cross the line in 5th place. He does just that for the top 5. The Sean DeHamel and Tristan Callahan finishing in 7th. Good defense after losing out on 5th. And Galacatudi is going to finish in 8th with Nicholas Norwood crossing the line in 9th. And around out P10, James O'Brien. No qualifying laps, no problem for that machine. There's a wreck right as the race is continuing to move on. Jason Arnsberg goes off track. Remember, Arnsberg just had his problem earlier in the lap going around the S's. And he'll have to resign to still be in 13th. He didn't lose any more positions from that slide through the grass. Joshua Reed will finish in front of him. Donald Olson finishes 14th, and that is that for all the finishers on the lead lap in this race. Everyone has taken the checkered flag. Road Atlanta will go into your final results from the track in Georgia, with Vasconcelos beating his teammate McPherson by just over 6 seconds after 26 racing laps. Earl Iroxoy will finish in 3rd, with Clay Harris and Dave Peterson rounding out the top 5. Sean DeHamel, Tristan Callahan, Menes Angalagadudi will finish in P8. Nicholas Norwood and James O'Brien round out the top 10. 4 more cars finished on the lead lap, with David Hebert and Parabola Racing and Joshua Reed with YJR finishing in P12. Arnsberg had a bunch of journeys off track in the last couple of laps. He'll recover to finish on the lead lap in 13th, while Donald Olson, what happened to him? Olson was racing high and racing fast, but eventually is the last car on the lead lap in 14th. Brandon Walter, Tyler Emery, Batan Kapadia, CJ Conklin, Bill Jenkins, and Ethan Ferenberg are officially scored as the rest of your finishing order here in this PRL Season 1 opener for Formula D action. Well, I think it's high time we bring in Jake Vasconcelos, who won this race in quite a dominant fashion, got the pole, led from the start, did a swell job, and Jake is joining us here in the booth. And after finishing 3rd, Jake, in last season's standings, it was only by 22 points. You start off the capitalization point, an exclamation point, I should say, here with your first place finish. Take us through some of the feelings and what you hope this means for the next 8 races.
Yeah, that was sick. I've been chasing a win in PRL for a while. I learned a lot last session and the one before. And yeah, me and Kevin were feeling good coming into this race, and we got the 1-2 just like we wanted.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like some smart teamwork, some sportsmanship between you guys, especially early on. You had some challengers, but couldn't really do anything when you guys were just giving it to each other at the chicane pretty much each lap. Do you feel like, that's going to be important as the season rolls on, to just keep that teamwork and keep it going through qualifying, giving each other slipstream? I mean, if it comes down to it, though, is it just going to be man-to-man, mano-a-mano, one-on-one?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we got the team championship, but I think we're both trying to do the best we can, and we both race clean. We give each other the space, so bring it on.
I like it. Bring it on. Big fan of that. Throughout the rest of the season, I feel like there's a lot of tracks that are going to test a bunch of drivers' different abilities, different skill sets. Is there one to you that might be maybe a little concerning, or one you're excited to get to throughout the rest of January and February?
I kind of like all the tracks on the calendar, actually. I guess Hungaroring isn't my strongest. But I do love spas there, and I think Nürburgring is on there too. So should be fun the whole calendar.
Love to hear that. Who makes it work for you and Yeast Motorsports, Jake?
Yeah, thanks YS and Kevin, and my #1 fan, Courtney.
Love it. All right, Jake, congratulations again. Number 10 on the car, number 1 in the race. We'll see you next week.
Cool, man. See you then.
All right, that was Jake Vasconcelos, and let's now get in his teammate from YS Motorsports, and that's going to be Kevin McPherson. Kevin just maybe didn't have that extra little bit of speed that your teammate Jake had, but it was that teamwork that really helped you guys out, especially in the beginning, to break free of the competition.
For sure. Just wanted to play it safe this time. I probably could have punched it and got up there, but it's a long season. I've had a lot of errors in my past seasons that have ruled me out, so gonna try it a little different and play a little safe this season.
Yeah, it definitely seems like this was a big kind of race for you to start off with last year. You had a couple DNFs and some disqualifications, all that, but you might feel like you were hard done by those results. Over the course of the whole season, though, you feel like this is going to be time you're finally going to reach that podium and maybe even a higher step on the podium at the end of the day.
I hope so. That's the goal.
Hey, hope's a big thing. That's all we have sometimes. But and I was asking Jake in his interview just a moment ago, and you can imagine what his answer was going to be. But it comes down to it, just you guys going against each other, equal speed, won't hurt the team's championship. How rough driving? How strong are you going to race each other if it comes down to it as the season progresses?
We'll race. I mean, we'll put on a show. We're both pretty clean drivers. We've been racing together for a long time, so we'll still put on a show.
Fair enough. Fair enough, Kevin. Well, hey, who makes it work for you? Who gets onto your 26 machines and pay the bills, I guess you could say?
Well, my wife for letting me do this, and then my daughter for going to bed early and letting me do this as well.
Well, we appreciate them too for letting you show some domination in this race. Kevin McPherson, everybody. Have a good one, buddy.
You too, man. Bye-bye.
Oh, man. Putting my daughter to bed early so I can participate in the race. It's always an appreciative comment, I think, from a father of a sim racer, or about a daughter of a sim racer. Anyway, you know what I'm trying to say. Earl Roxoy is with us, and Earl, that was a pretty solid race from you. Felt like as it went on, maybe it was just the teamwork from the two drivers in front of you might have hurt your chances of breaking into the top two, but you're right there with them. Good start to the season for your perspective.
Yeah. Hi, thanks for having me, guys. I think you're absolutely right. I made one mistake going onto the back straight as I was driving, as I was right with them, and then once I started to get that gap between us, I lost. I couldn't keep up with them, and then my sights turned rearward, trying to keep Clay off my rear. So yeah.
All right, and I feel like that battle between you and Clay let's be honest, the majority of the second half of that race, it was solid, but never faltered. So is that something that you're really going to look to kind of build off of? And on top of that, building off of that, what tracks might suit you, going forward? Because it is a shorter season than in seasons past.
Yeah, I'd say Road Atlanta is definitely one track for me. Spa. I'm looking forward to Bathurst. Bathurst is a good track for me. So this is my first open wheel league. So I'm trying to come up to speed on the norms of open wheel racing and everything. So I'm just glad to be up at the sharp end of the stick.
And before I let you go, going to give you a chance to thank your partners and thank who makes it happen for you. But I also have to ask, what makes you the ice cream man?
It is a nickname that I earned in running GT3 Fixed with the rest of the Vulture team, and every time I would get a podium or a win, I would say, all right, I'm out of here. I'm going to go get ice cream. And so they just slapped it on the car, and it kind of stuck.
All right. Well, once again, congrats on the podium finish here. And gotta say, I'm hoping you give us one of those infamous time for ice creams at some point in this season. You think you'll get it done at one point?
I'm going to do my best. I like this car. This car is a lot of fun to drive. I'm still learning it, but I think today was all positives to take away from me. So I think I got no place to go but up.
Well, we love to hear that, Earl. Thank you so much, and looking forward to next week at Tsukuba. See what you do there.
Go on, guys. Thanks.
All right, and like I just said, Tsukuba is where we're going. The full circuit, 35 minutes once again. It's full racing action from this point onwards. Of course, last week was Christmas break, and we didn't do anything, and the week before that was Zandvoort as a preseason race, non-broadcast race. So gives us a chance to just take no breathers, actually. Not able to take a breath throughout the rest of this season, but that keeps it exciting. Every race means just a little bit more, 10% more on points than it would be if it was the 10 race seasons of the past. But that's going to do it from Road Atlanta. Remember to join us at Tsukuba next week, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time, RaceSpotTV. I'm Dylan Coyle alongside producer Dustin Allis. This has been Precision Racing League action on RaceSpotTV. Good night and good racing.